What is up here, YouTube? Jigsaw0097 here again today, bringing you another video because I just saw this on Facebook. Speaking of Bleeding Green Nation, they don't always get it right. This is written by a Ben Natan, and this was back in April 25th, 2016. This was before we actually drafted Carson Wentz. But as you can see here, it says the Eagles should draft Paxton Lynch instead of Carson Wentz, which is hilarious. Let's just go ahead and read this, guys. The Eagles need a quarterback badly. The fans know it, the writers know it. Obviously the team knows it, or they wouldn't have traded up something short of a king's ransom to move up to the second pick in the 2016 NFL draft. You guys remember Howie Roseman pretty much worked some magic to get up to where he got in the NFL draft. I think the Eagles started at like 18, and then they moved to 11, and then they moved up to, or it could have been they were at 11 and they moved up to like 6 or something. I can't remember. But basically he had to make 2 different deals to get all the way up to number 2. And this is hilarious because I can't remember when Lynch went, but it's like in no way would they have had to use the second pick if they were going to want to go after Lynch. Sam Bradford is nothing more than an average stopgap. Yes, I will agree with that. He is decent, but needs everything around him working perfectly to put the team in a position to win. Not to mention his knees are made of glass. His low ceiling as a starter forced the team to aggressively pursue a quarterback this year. Now it is almost a given that the team has its crosshairs on North Dakota State's Carson Wentz. But they really should be going after a quarterback from the South. Paxton Lynch out of Memphis. And yeah, this is hilarious. I mean, I don't understand why anyone ever thought Paxton Lynch was that great. Even when the Broncos took him, I thought Trevor Siemian was going to pan out more than that. Hell, I thought Brock Osweiler would have panned out better than Paxton Lynch. I have said once and said a million more times that the quarterbacks in this class all make me uncomfortable. Yeah, I was getting a lot of that during this year too. Everyone was saying that Carson Wentz he's not that good because he came from a Division II school or whatever, and they were saying Jared Goff's better, which I've said on this channel. I don't think Jared Goff is bad. I just think Wentz is on another level, but each has at least one flaw that makes me hesitant about viewing them as a franchise quarterback. But the Eagles are married to drafting a quarterback high, so why not draft the right one? Which I agree with. The last time the Eagles drafted high, they drafted Donovan McNabb. The Eagles aren't one of those teams that just takes a quarterback every year like the Rams. Or, I mean, not the Rams, like the Browns. They actually do the research before they get a quarterback. So it's like, of course they wanted Wentz. That's who they looked into. Back in the 2014 draft, I was lower on UFC's Blake Bortles. I thought he wasn't a smart quarterback, and his intermediate accuracy really worried me. I loved his ability to stand in the pocket under pressure, and his deep passing game was tremendous. But I got way too caught up in the minutia of his game and underrated him tremendously. Which I've always said Blake Bortles, he's kind of, this is my opinion here now. I've always said Blake Bortles is kind of just like a poor man's Ben Roethlisberger. I don't think the Jaguars will ever be legit until they replace him. But who knows? I could be wrong. I mean, this is just my opinion. I just think that Blake Bortles is kind of he's like a C-grade quarterback, you know, like a stopgap guy. Anyway, getting back to the article, while he still turns the ball over quite a bit in the NFL, he is a big play machine. They're still talking about Blake Bortles here, and very clearly looks like the guy in Jacksonville. What I've learned is that 2 of the most important traits for young quarterbacks is their ability to pass vertically and how they react to pressure and adversity. Now he's going to get back to his Lynch argument. Lynch is the embodiment of those traits in this class. In terms of poise, Wentz can have a certain amount of numbness in the pocket in his best moments. That's just so funny reading now that we know what we know. His feet are cement most of the time, which Carson Wentz, if anything, was one of the most mobile QBs in 2016 and 2017 combined. So where he's getting this from, I have no clue. I mean, I even looked at Carson Wentz's North Dakota State tape, and he was never a quarterback that just sat there. Carson Wentz's biggest strength is his ability to look downfield while staying mobile. That's something that Paxton Lynch can't even come close to. Let's see what else he has to say. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, his feet are cement most of the time, and he's oblivious to pressure, which leads to a lot of unnecessary sacks. He is definitely tough, however, and he rarely looks shaken. Okay, there we go. We can finally agree on something, which is a major plus to him. However, he opens himself up to way too many negative plays in the pocket. Whatever that means. I mean, I guess if the injury... The only problem Wentz has, in my eyes, at this point is he needs to learn how to protect himself better. I don't know what he means by negative plays in the pocket. That doesn't make sense. On the flip side, Lynch moves incredibly well and out of the pocket and does a great job making plays when there is pressure. It is imperative to see how quarterbacks can play when moved off of their spot, and Lynch is probably the best in the class at this, while Wentz is a damn near liability. What? Oh, man, this guy's just losing credibility the more I read this, guys. Carson Wentz has a very strong arm, but his poor touch down the field negates what he should be able to do. On the other hand, Paxton Lynch is an outstanding deep passer who can hit any spot down the field on a dime. No. I mean, they're looking at college tape, but at the same time, I looked at Wentz's tape. I don't know where he's getting this analysis from, guys. I really have no clue. If you guys have any thoughts on this, maybe this guy was right at the time. I mean, this was 2 years ago now. A lot's changed, but still. Anyway, continue on. Lynch and Wentz both come from spread systems where neither had to make very complicated reads, that's a bunch of crap. One of the biggest strengths with Wentz was that he came from a pro-style offense. It's something Jared Goff had no clue. Jared Goff came from a college offense. Wentz was already pro-ready. He was like Andrew Luck. You just put him in the system and he wins. Anyway, continuing, which is a hill they both need to climb. But it is important to note how much more efficient Lynch was at Memphis than Wentz was at North Dakota State. I mean, didn't Wentz win like 2 championships? At least one. Wentz does not have a single level of the field where he is consistently accurate, whereas Lynch has his inconsistencies in the short range. I mean, I can see that Wentz does have a little bit of an accuracy problem. That's something I saw when Foles was starting, is that Foles actually does have a much better deep ball than Carson Wentz does. Whereas Lynch has his inconsistencies in the short range, but is very adept, intermediate, and deep passer. Level of competition is noteworthy as well. Lynch had his best game of the season against a loaded Ole Miss defense and was playing FBS teams all season, while Wentz had played one FBS team in his time as a starter. That brings up another area where Lynch has an advantage: starting time. Okay. Wentz started less than 25 games at the FCS level, where Lynch has played 38 games at Memphis and twice as many career pass attempts. That is a massive disparity in experience, despite Lynch being younger than Wentz. Well, yeah, Wentz got injured. I think he injured his wrist during his time in NDSU. I have to remember that. It really baffles me that Wentz has been anointed through this process. This guy just hates Wentz. That's what I'm getting the conclusion of. I get that he has all the tools that teams fall in love with, and he is of apparently very high character, which is great. You need high character. This is what I say always, guys. You need it up here before you need it down here. I mean, like, in your brain, you need it before you need it in your body. Physical attributes can only get you so far in this league. Look at Michael Vick. Michael Vick, great physical attributes. Had a really crappy mentality for the first half of his career, and he had to go to prison to figure that out. So having a very high character is a very high selling point for why you want to draft a player. However, this ignores that he is a major project, which I don't agree. I mean, I kind of did agree when they drafted him, but I mean, he proved it wrong, like, right in the beginning. It only took, like, the Browns game for me to fall in love with Wentz. He was immediately good. I liked him a lot as a day 2 pick earlier in the season, but if the Eagles are going to invest massive resources in getting a quarterback this year, it baffles me that it would be him. And then he closes with, if the Eagles want to draft a quarterback with the 2nd overall pick, they need to choose the better option in Paxton Lynch. So, yeah, like I've mentioned, there's a lot of things wrong with this article, guys. Even evaluating Wentz and Lynch at the time, Wentz was much better. Paxton Lynch was like the Dak Prescott of that draft. It was like they took him because they needed a quarterback. He was never a top prospect. The top guys was Jared Goff and Carson Wentz. Everyone knew it. A lot of people thought Jared Goff was better than Wentz, which, you know, it's the argument is still up there. I mean, Carson Wentz technically has won a Super Bowl now. He didn't completely win it himself, but he is one up on Jared Goff at this point. And then people try to do the Dak Prescott comparison, which it's like, I agree with most people now that just needs to stop. I mean, Dak Prescott stinks. He really does. He sucks. We know this now. I mean, we have to see what happens this year, but he had one fluky year where they went to the playoffs and they lost at home against the Packers. So until they go to the playoffs again and maybe beat the Eagles to get to the playoffs, I don't want to hear this crap that Dak Prescott's better than Carson Wentz. But anyway, guys, that's kind of the video. I've rambled on long enough. Just wanted to read that article to you because I thought that was hilarious. I'll leave a link in the description as well if you guys want to go over to BGN and read that yourself. Like I said, I like to get a lot of my news here, and it's just funny when you see things like this, especially this can happen anywhere. These kind of opinions are all over sports now, guys. This is why I don't do a lot of, like, prediction videos or mock drafts or stuff like that, because I don't like to just say stupid things to say stupid things. And not saying that this guy's like completely stupid for saying this, but at the same time, he didn't need to anoint Paxton Lynch the way he did especially when Lynch was never a top prospect. But anyway, guys, that's the video. This has been Jigsaw0097 here. If you like the video, go ahead and subscribe. I'll be covering the Eagles all season long. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and you have a good one. I'll talk to you all later.